Do you think that when the Type 094 strategic nuclear submarine, with its distinctive turtleback design, dives into the deep sea, it represents the entirety of China's underwater nuclear deterrent? If so, the emergence of the Zhulang 3 and the outlines of the next-generation nuclear submarines may completely alter your assessment of this force's global standing. Within the nuclear club comprising the 5 permanent members of the UN Security Council, the land-based component of China's triad, namely, the intercontinental ballistic missiles deployed in silos or on-road mobile launchers, is widely recognized as having reached the forefront globally in terms of technological sophistication, response speed, and survivability. The range, accuracy, and penetration capabilities of the DF-41 are sufficient to stand up to any current operational model in a direct comparison. However, when you turn your attention to the other two pillars, air and sea, the picture changes entirely. Regarding strategic bombers, despite multiple upgrades, the H-6 series remains constrained by its original design platform in terms of range, payload capacity, and stealth capabilities, resulting in a generational gap compared to US and Russian models such as the B-2, B-1B, and Tu-160. In the realm of strategic nuclear submarines, the disparity is even more pronounced. Indeed, among the strategic nuclear submarine forces currently in service among the 5 permanent members of the UN Security Council, China's has long occupied the position of a follower. The root cause of this situation lies in 2 closely intertwined factors: technological accumulation and platform development cycles. Strategic nuclear submarines are often referred to as underwater fortresses. Their development involves not only the miniaturization and reliability of nuclear propulsion systems, but also the submarine's own stealth technology, hull materials, sonar systems, and the corresponding submarine-launched ballistic missiles. These technologies require extensive testing, iteration, and practical deployment to validate, making it difficult to achieve significant breakthroughs in a short period. Currently, the newest model in this fleet is the Type 094 strategic nuclear submarine, but its numbers are strictly limited to single digits. These submarines undertake critically important long-range nuclear deterrence patrol missions. Their very existence serves as a strategic declaration. However, their numbers and technical condition also objectively reflect the current stage of development of the entire underwater nuclear force. A close examination of the Type 094's exterior reveals a most striking feature: a distinct bulge extending from the rear of the conning tower to the stern. This design, often referred to as the turtleback in discussions, is intended to accommodate the JL-2 submarine-launched intercontinental ballistic missile. Due to the limited diameter of the submarine's pressure hull, and the fact that the missile's length cannot be reduced, designers were compelled to add such an external fairing to provide sufficient vertical space. While this structure does increase the usable space within the missile compartment, allowing for the carriage of larger missiles, its drawbacks are equally significant. It disrupts the smoothness of the hull's lines, and increases drag during submerged navigation, thereby limiting the submarine's maximum speed and stealth capabilities. This becomes a significant weakness when the submarine needs to quickly maneuver into a launch position or evade anti-submarine pursuit. The Type 094 carries the Zhulang 2 missile, with each submarine equipped with 12 units. This missile has a range of approximately 8,000 kilometers. When launched from coastal waters such as the South China Sea or the Bohai Sea, this range is sufficient to cover some targets on the opposite side of the Pacific. However, to effectively deter deeper-seated strategic targets, submarines often need to advance to more distant launch positions, which undoubtedly increases the risk of exposure and detection. The dimensions and weight of the Zhulang 2 are the result of strict adaptation to the Type 094 hull. This platform-determined weapon relationship, in turn, limits the possibility of further increasing the missile's payload, extending its range, or equipping it with additional penetration devices. In actual combat deployment, this configuration provides a fundamental and credible second-strike nuclear capability. However, the technical specifications and operational flexibility it embodies fall significantly short of those offered by US and Russian systems, such as the Ohio-class or Boreai-class submarines equipped with Trident IID-5 or Bulava missiles. The turning point came with the public unveiling of the JL-3 submarine-launched intercontinental ballistic missile. According to reports, the missile's range extends to approximately 12,000 kilometers, a critical threshold. This means that submarines equipped with it can cover most of an adversary's strategic targets even when launched from waters under tight protection near their own coastline, thereby significantly enhancing deployment flexibility and survivability. However, a core issue has emerged. The JL-3's diameter and length both exceed those of the JL-2. Whether it can be integrated without major modifications to the Type 094 hull has become a practical challenge that must be addressed. Theoretically, the most direct way to integrate the JL-3 into the Type 094 would be to modify the structure of the missile compartment, and it might even require adjusting the dimensions and shape of the turtleback to accommodate a larger launch tube. However, such an upgrade presents extremely high engineering challenges, involving a series of complex redesigns and validations related to hull structural strength, center of gravity distribution, and hydrodynamic characteristics. What truly underpins the new generation of underwater nuclear deterrent systems are two key technologies that have already achieved breakthroughs: the shaftless pumpjet propulsion system and high-strength pressure-resistant hull materials. The shaftless pump jet propulsion system eliminates traditional propellers and drive shafts by integrating the drive motor within a ring-shaped duct. This significantly reduces the submarine's radiated noise, particularly eliminating the low-frequency noise generated by the shaft system, a critical factor in evading enemy sonar detection. Meanwhile, higher-strength pressure hull materials, such as new alloy steels or all-titanium alloys, as well as large-scale composite materials that may be applied in the future, allow submarines to achieve a larger internal diameter for the same weight, or to dive to greater depths for the same external diameter. The combination of these two technologies paves the way for the design of an entirely new class of strategic nuclear submarines that can break free from the humpback hull configuration, featuring superior streamlining and hydrodynamic performance. Based on this technological evolution, we can outline the profile of the next-generation strategic nuclear submarine. It will achieve a qualitative leap in stealth capabilities, with noise levels potentially approaching, or even matching those of the most advanced models currently in service with the US and Russia. Stronger hull materials and an optimized propulsion system will provide it with longer continuous underwater endurance and higher maximum speed. In terms of firepower, it is expected to integrate the JL-3 missile and may increase its missile capacity from the 094's 12 to 16, reaching the configuration levels of mainstream US and Russian strategic nuclear submarines. This increase in missile capacity signifies a significant enhancement in a single submarine's strike capability and deterrent value. Given the limited total number of submarines, it will enable more effective coverage of multiple designated targets. This evolution will constitute a true generational shift in the Navy's underwater nuclear force. It is no longer a matter of tinkering with existing platforms, but rather a brand new combat platform designed to adapt to future battlefield environments. When the combination of the new submarine and the JL-3 achieves operational capability, its comprehensive deterrent effectiveness, including survivability, reaction speed, strike precision, and penetration capabilities, will significantly narrow the gap with comparable US and Russian platforms. This represents not merely a catch-up in hardware, but a crucial step forward for the entire submarine-based nuclear force in transitioning from deterrence by presence to reliable deterrence. Returning to the original question, can the shortcomings of the Type 094 be addressed by the new submarines and the upgraded JL-3? Judging by the trajectory of technological development, the answer appears to be affirmative. However, it is important to note that building a nuclear force is a long-term endeavor. From the finalization of new submarine designs, the construction of the lead vessel, and sea trials, to achieving initial operational capability, and then completing the mass production and deployment of multiple submarines, it is quite normal for the entire process to span 10 to 20 years. Therefore, even if the technical path is clear, transforming the final results into a reliable, routine strategic maritime patrol force still requires time and sustained investment. The next decade will be a critical period for testing whether these technological breakthroughs can truly translate into practical advantages.